Good morning. Quick look at the clock. It is the morning. How you doing? How is everyone doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. It's coming home. It's coming home. Good morning, because football's coming home. Al Reed, how are you all doing? Also, good morning to Miss Danny Day, who's just dropped a 20-month Prime. Thank you very much, babe. Thank you very much. If anyone else has a Prime that they want to throw at the channel, feel free to throw it in. We'll take it off you. We don't mind. We don't mind. How loud was that? Was that quiet for everyone, or was it?
Stay frosty.
No, I just didn't have my headset on. Nice. There we go. Anyway, welcome in. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham D. How the very bloody well, how you doing? This is the man that we call Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true ice creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, even if we do say so ourselves. Actually, I said the UK's #1 video game. I mean England's. Yeah. Okay, you get what I'm doing. Anyway, welcome in. Did anyone watch the football last night? How you doing? Yeah. How many people watched the football last night? One in. Oh.
I sub hello persape sub theva 2 sub hypopracy sub.
I sub hello persape sub the vertu sub hypopracy sub. Nice match. Thank you very much for the sub hype. What a guy. I appreciate you. Tito says, what football? Exactly, mate. Exactly. I don't know. Didn't see football. All I just saw was victory. And salt and shade and all of the rest of the stuff, which has been wonderful. Did you have a good evening? Did you all have a good evening? Nice. Did you watch football, babe? Of course you did.
Yeah, I think it was probably one of the highest watched football games in Scotland, Wales, and Ireland ever. Won it last night.
Just a little bit. I mean, they were all, to be fair, they are like peninsulas of Denmark. Although I do believe that they've just been claimed by Italy in the last 12 to 24 hours or so, something like that. Yeah, yeah. So if you missed it somehow, it was the semi-finals of the second semi-final of Euro 2020 last night. England versus Denmark. England won. Jobs are good and nice. So we're all happy today. There's plenty of salt today. Apparently, we are cheaters. We dived. We didn't deserve to win. This, that, and the other, which is incredible. Love it. Just keep bringing it. It's fine. We'll drink it all in. I mean, don't get me wrong. It all changes on Sunday when we play a team that hasn't lost in 33 games. So for the next few days, we'll just ride the hype. I've never seen England in the final of a major tournament. And most people haven't, and those that have are bloody old. But yeah, we get a chance. Nice. Let's jump back through the chat. See who's here. Tito says sober, ish. Kind of. I mean, I'm fine. Bibi, not so much. I only had one drink yesterday. I was focusing my effort into pizza because we were at home. We didn't go out. Just had myself a nice amaretto and just got stuffed on food. Jobs are good. Mr. T says, were you caning the drinks, babe?
I mean, that's one way of putting it, yeah. But I mean, for those of you that may have been out for drinks with me in the past, I am a lightweight, albeit not physically. Internally, I am a lightweight. Like 3 or 4 pints usually. I'm absolutely pissed, especially when I've not had anything to eat during the day, and 2 pieces of cheese on toast definitely wasn't enough. But I had 5 pints yesterday and was very merry. This morning was bad. I didn't have anything to drink before I went to bed, no water or any juice or anything like that. So you wake up and you're like, but yeah, a little bit worse for wear this morning, but not to the point where like I've got my head in the bowl singing down the pipes. Wasn't that bad, but 5 pints for me is quite a bit. Like, I'm terrible on an all-day drinking sesh. Like, I have to pace myself. It's pint water. But last night it was like nervous drinking.
I mean, I have had Christmas dues with Bib, so I can vouch for that. By the way, yeah, absolute lightweight, honestly. Backdoor boogie at 7:30. I mean, it didn't start till 8:00, but he's off at 7:30. God, honestly, lightweight.
Listen, if I'm not out at 2:00 in the morning with Mark Bamber going,
No, it's the
it makes you feel like you're the most funniest person in the world. Anything you say, do you want a pipe, Mark?
Oh, bless him. Bless him.
Love that guy.
Spent a lot of sterling on shots. I'm quite sure I'm feeling sterling today. Go for a walker later. Sweat that alcohol out. Yeah. This is the kind of content that people just don't bother turning up for. We appreciate it though. Thank you very much. Good morning, Jamrag Juice. How are you doing? Mr. T says, "Sweet Caroline." Ba, ba, ba. Do you know? I didn't realise as well until. I mean, I kind of realised, but I didn't realise
Wait,
fully.
go back a second.
What? What we're doing? What?
Jamrag Juice.
We had this conversation when Jamrag Juice dropped the follow. I was like, "That's an interesting name." So yes, good morning, Jamrag.
Nice colour.
And that's it. Bibby's gone.
How was that gone through quality control?
Bit inappropriate calling someone in chat babe. In it, I don't know. Depends. Maybe if someone's called babe, maybe it might be
Very
fine.
forward.
Might be fine. But yeah, Sweet Caroline. Ba ba ba. So good, so good. It says it 3 times. See, I didn't realize how unique our little bubble is in terms of like our bubble of friends, which is kind of a mixture of Manchester, Liverpool kind of stuff. We go so good, it's unbelievable, da, da, and nobody else says it's unbelievable. So when I watch like the crowds at the football going, just say so good, and carry on. It's like, well, that's just boring. Put some effort into it. Mix up the words, throw in and it's unbelievable in there. But yeah, there you go. Some learnings. Yesterday it was good. Good morning, Wicked Slippers. How are you doing? So much salt after we won, I could season my food for the rest of my life. Yeah. Fell asleep before the game and woke up at the start of extra time. Football is coming home to the UK. Mom, the representative of the island, I say. Yeah, Madge, that's what we like to see. Yeah, no, definitely lots of salt, which some of it is fine. Some of it in jest, I'm all for. I've got a bunch of Scottish friends, Scottish relatives in law. Honestly, not by blood, don't woof. But like, yeah. So I'm used to the banter kind of stuff, and there's been a lot of banter. Like Gagad in the chat, he's been kind of person that's had banter, but a lot of people genuinely hate. Just imagine just hating just a people. That's bad. So yeah, a lot of people started out as banter yesterday, but after we won, just the mask slipped and you started to see. So do you know what? That's fine. We're going to enjoy it, whatever. I say that we're going to enjoy it. I mean, 10 o'clock Sunday night might be a different story. We will see. Hopefully we carry on enjoying it into Monday. And then we miss out the first half of the next week as it turns into a haze. But that's a conversation for a different time. We're not here to talk about football, even though we will probably talk a little bit about football. But we are here to talk about video games because, as mentioned, I'm Graham. This is Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is The Scoop. We're going to give you our thoughts and our impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. We want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions, so please do feel free to get involved in the chat. It's important that you do. We turn this live stream, which we do each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. We turn that live stream into a podcast, a video that goes on YouTube, and an audio podcast that goes on iTunes and Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play. Lots of places where people can watch and listen on demand, but they don't get to get involved right here, right now in the chat with us. So you can do that on their behalf. Make sure you do. Before we jump into the show, a quick reminder, ! Loot drop won't do anything in the chat because my PC had been restarted. So there you go. It's loaded back up again now. When chatbot is alive, ! Loot drop in the chat will let you know how you can win yourself a prize. This month's prize has just been won a couple of days ago. A few days ago. Ads won. Now, technically, it was a couple of days ago, but it should have been a few days ago. There you go. Anyway, he won himself one of these, the Ice Cream Uploads esports jerseys that we gave away in this month's. Chappers. It's just because I've just seen Ads' name in the chat. Sorry, Ads, you win one too. Chappers. There you go. Ads, good morning. Hello. You didn't win anything. Unlucky. Chappers won. And it's kind of overdue. I mean, we've got people like Spike who've won twice, and Chappers has been, I think, in every month since the very beginning. So yeah, Chappers won himself an ICU esports jersey, which we haven't actually sorted out getting to him because busy all week. But Chappers, do send us your details if you're watching this. If not, we will reach out to you anyway to get those details. But we'll need to know your size, preference, if you want a name on the back, what number you'd want your address and stuff like that, and we'll get it organised and sent out to you. Not to ads, although I can't confirm that. Maybe we will send it to ads by accident. I don't know. It's fine. If you get a top that says Chappers on it, ads, it's for you. You can keep. Jobs are good. As well as the loot drop, this month's loot drop prize, well, next month's loot drop prize hasn't been confirmed. So if anyone has any suggestions of prizes that we could give away, please feel free to share. Obviously, that is only available to subscribers, though. So if you're a sub, doesn't matter if it's a Prime sub, tier 1, 2, or 3, or even a gifter, everyone gets involved in it. It's just a way that we give back to people for supporting the channel financially. We give one prize to one person every month, so get involved. As well as that, exclamation mark insert coin. Myself and Bibby were on the insert coin channel yesterday playing some PUBG. We did an earlier stream than usual. Usually we stream about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish at night in that sort of window, whereas yesterday we did a 2 till 5 stream, so we could get off and get set for the foosball. So exclamation mark insert coin if you want a link through to the insert coin channel. Actually, the link to the channel, you can see their name in the channel. The link isn't in there, but it will give you our discount code, as well as which, if anyone has used our discount code, which you can see there, thanks to Madge using the command in the chat, I see Ice Cream 20. That was our 2020 discount code. It still works. If you haven't used it, you'll get 20% off if you use that code. If you have used it and you want a discount code, we have a new code for 2021, which is ICU21. So really brief. So we'll update that message just so that changes. But if you do want any more stuff, the code to use would be ICU21. You'll save yourself 20%, and that code will last throughout the rest of 2021. Nice. Other than that,
I'm just having a look at the games that we could potentially give away, and there isn't actually that much unless people want to wait. So we could do one like we did last time, where it was one from each platform. So if people don't have that platform, they're not losing out. Or you could have something like 3 separate games. So Kenna Bridge of Spirits for PlayStation, obviously.
looks good, that game.
12. I'm going to get that one. 12 minutes. I know, like Asim's really looking forward to. That's one that you said you wanted to play as well, didn't you? Because that's coming out for Xbox.
What, 12 minutes? I can't remember which one that one was.
It's that one with, it's got loads of famous people in, like William Dafoe.
The top-down one, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I remember now. I remember.
There was a Scarlett Johansson as well, I think, in that.
Maybe not.
Guy that was in Shameless.
Maybe not Scarlett Johansson, but there was definitely a major female lead. Daisy Ridley, was it?
Maybe. Yeah, I can't remember the guy that was in. His name always fades me. He's in Shameless. He's like one of the biggest actors in Hollywood. Scottish guy.
Gagad.
No, I remember. Anyway, and then for the Nintendo Switch, we could have Skyward Sword, because that's remasters coming out this month. So we have got options.
Okay, we'll have a think about that.
There's also a lot of shit in there as well.
We'll have a think. Probably not going to give you a lot of shit. Don't think that would be very enticing. How about giving away Xbox Game Pass and Game Pass for PC, a subscription service which gives you access to hundreds of games, including day one releases for a low monthly fee of $9.99 in the first 3 months for just $1? Gasp! James McAvoy?
McAvoy. That's it. James McAvoy, yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
I can't.
James Thingy.
James Thingy, that's his
I always
name.
call
now.
it Zach for some reason. Don't know why.
James
That's what I
Zachavoy.
always call it, Zach. Yeah, James Zachavoy.
So yeah, there you go. Maybe we'll give away some games. Worst case scenario, we'll just give away more of the merch. Yay! Okay, it's nice to mix up the merch. It's nice to give away some merch, but yeah, we don't want to make it like they're just giving it away again. We want to make it something that's spread out. So if we can find some games or something to give away instead, we'll do that. So if you've got suggestions, do feel free to drop
Signed
them
poster of
in the
us.
Discord. We don't have any posters, so if you get us a poster and send it in, we will sign it for you. So if you win, you get the chance to buy a poster, pay for postage backwards and forwards. If you want to put a pen in as well, that will be pretty helpful, because we might not have a pen to our hand when it turns up and stuff. Says Graham, sat here with a pen in his hand. Fuck.
Yeah.
You've
got a signed picture of me on your desk.
It's actually on the wall in the office, so I don't even know if that is my desk anymore. I've not been there for 7 months, so I don't know. Anyway, let's jump into some news. Bibby, would you like to play an Assassin's Creed game that evolves?
Do you know what, Graham? Up until about 8 months ago, I wouldn't have been interested in the franchise at all. Valhalla has changed my mind on that. So,
Mm.
what they're putting on the table?
Well, exactly that. They may be working on a huge evolving online game for Assassin's Creed. We'll tell you about that in just a second. I'll tell you what else will be coming up through the show though. Switch. If you want a Switch, you want the new OLED screen? Is that everything you've dreamed of? No? Okay, well, Switch just says stick with the current one and don't bother getting it, which is a weird marketing move, but there you go. Elsewhere, Tencent uses facial recognition not stool, because that's a turd, a tool to stop kids playing at night. So they don't use facial recognition turds at all. And then finally, a Redditor creates an inflatable cover to protect controllers from gamer rage, which is almost as weird as a facial recognition stool. But we'll jump onto those articles in a bit. For
A lot of
now,
weird shit today.
yeah, literally stools all over the place. For now, though, Chris Scullion at VGC has this article. Ubisoft is working on Assassin's Creed Infinity, a huge, evolving online game. The live service title will have multiple historical settings, a report claims. So Ubisoft is working on a massive online Assassin's Creed game that will evolve over time as a live service. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reported earlier today that the project has the codename Assassin's Creed Infinity and will be a large online platform that will continue to grow in the months and years following its release. So not GTA Online, but Assassin's Creed Online. Nice. Okay, the report claims that while previous Assassin's Creed games were set in specific historical periods, Assassin's Creed Infinity will be set in multiple different periods, and this could expand even more over time. Ubisoft has since confirmed the game's existence in a new blog post, but has given no information on what the game is about, other than the fact that it will be a collaboration between both Ubisoft Montreal, which created Assassin's Creed Origins and Valhalla, and Ubisoft Quebec, which made Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Quote, rather than continuing to pass the baton from game to game, we profoundly believe this is an opportunity for one of Ubisoft's most beloved franchises to evolve in a more integrated and collaborative manner that's less centered on studios and more focused on talent and leadership, no matter where they are within Ubisoft. A statement on the blog reads, most importantly, Assassin's Creed has always been developed by multicultural teams with various with various backgrounds and perspectives that have influenced the depiction of its characters, locations, and cultures. While we know there's always room for improvement, we believe this new structure allows us to ensure that diversity and representation with our teams continues to grow and match that of our players. The project is said to still be a number of years away from release, and according to Schreier, the teams involved face internal issues as several men accused of sexual abuse are reportedly still involved in the project. This presumably includes Mark Alexis Coates, who Ubisoft confirmed will be leading the new cross-studio collaborative structure. A spokesperson for Ubisoft acknowledged the existence of Infinity to Schreier and states that Ubisoft aims to, quote, exceed the expectations of fans who have been asking for a more cohesive approach to the series. According to a GameCentral article last year, Coates was accused of being aware of toxic behaviour at Ubisoft Quebec and knowingly enabling that toxicity. According to the report, sources claim that Coates personally treated them well, but was aware of abuse being dealt out by senior colleagues and allegedly took no action. When asked about these claims by Schreier, Ubisoft spokesperson stated, any employee that had allegations and remain at Ubisoft has had their case rigorously reviewed by a third party and were either exonerated or underwent appropriate disciplinary actions. Employees who have been under investigation would not remain at Ubisoft if results of investigations warranted termination. Despite this, Schreier reports that some managers accused of abusive behaviour remain in senior positions, with Ubisoft's internal message board receiving numerous complaints by staff unhappy at the company's response to the allegations. In an interview with VGC last year, Assassin's Creed Valhalla producer Julien Laferriere told us, I think what's great about Assassin's Creed is that because we're dealing with history, there's so many of the time periods and moments that we could tap into. For me, it's a great franchise that has a lot of possibilities. A weird article that genuinely there's some good talking points in there, but I just feel that it was back and forth. So we started talking about a huge online evolving game, then we rightfully started talking about some of the accusations and the toxicity within the workplace, but then jumped back into the game and then went back to the toxicity and then finished off with a comment about the game being good that it taps into history. I mean, pick,
Yeah.
choose a narrative. Start with one bit and go to the other bit. Don't have this back and forward. It's kind of odd. Okay, we'll put a pin in the toxicity elements just for now. But we'll pick off what the headline looks like. Ubisoft is working on Assassin's Creed Infinity, a huge evolving online game. Obviously, we've had Ubisoft delivering games every year for the past, well, sometimes 3 times a year. That's what it feels like. Probably not 3 times a year. It's more like once a year kind of thing. It watered Ubisoft down. They changed that to be a biannual sort of release to give them more time to produce quality games. Valhalla notably attracted a lot of people, started to change the tones of that, but how does that then fit into a huge evolving live service game? Does Assassin's Creed going live service, does that eradicate one of Assassin's Creed's biggest problems, which is the need for yearly iteration, probably to satisfy shareholders? And it just means that it's always there. We can always implement new changes, new content on the go. We don't have to just throw something out every year because the shareholders say so. Anyway, lots of questions have been thrown in. Bib, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, what we're going to be seeing from this, I think, with all the information that we've got so far, potentially they're looking at what Grand Theft Auto Online is doing. Are they not? They're looking at a world that changes every month or every other month with new expansions to create the world. So what they're creating essentially isn't a single player experience anymore. It's very much an MMO. So you're going to have your character, you're going to have to level him up, you're going to get all your experience points, you're going to travel the world or whatever it is, whatever setting, and there's going to be constant missions, side quests, objectives to complete. And then they'll just raise the level cap maybe and then add a new dimension to it. So there's going to be an expansion that you'll travel to Ireland, and then you'll travel to Rome, and then you'll travel to Greece or whatever it is. They're just going to keep on tagging it on top of it. This is what we're looking at now. Is this the future of video games where they're going to potentially make these live service games just constant MMOs? It's a very sustainable model, if I'm being honest. Like, it's probably not going to suit the Assassin's Creed purists, but with the carnage that you get with GTA Online and the world that people wanted since playing GTA 3 and having that experience around these cities, and then the next game will come out and you'll be in Vice City, and then you'll be in Los Santos and GTA 5 and these different areas. They could easily accommodate this in most games now. It's just this is a massive risk because they haven't done this before with Assassin's Creed. As far as I know, I'm not the biggest Assassin's Creed fan, but th- they could pull this off. I think if there was a couple of studios that you'd think would be able to pull it off, it probably would be Ubisoft. It's just whether or not the Assassin's Creed audience want this, and I don't know if they do. That's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. I mean, Mr. T in the chat says, I think this makes sense. The universe lends itself well to that. I hope it's executed correctly, though, and not at the detriment of quality. I agree. I mean, the fact that the whole concept is so wild that you can do whatever you want. Once you accept that outlandish principle as truth, or at least the basis of a story, then you could do whatever you want with it. So, an animus, you could jump into thoughts-ish, like memories-ish, timelines-ish, change stuff, but not change stuff. But once you've got that, you can do whatever you want, which then does lead you to the fact that it's not just a case of nipping down to Los Santos and then going back up to Vice City. It's nipping down to 1700, and I'm just going to go across to 1457 and come back up to early Victorian London, kind of thing like that. So in that sort of sense, it's pretty cool. The concept of being able to have Origins and Odyssey and Valhalla. Okay, do you want Viking dragon boats? Nice, you've got that. But do you want ancient Egyptian pyramids? Nice, you've got that too. Like, do you want the I can't remember the name of them now. The Templars, the Knights Templars, and that sort of. Yeah, that's fine. That's all in there as well. Yeah, nice. So you can the fact that they can have all of these different styles, because it's basically probably shithousing the wording. It's basically a digital simulation. That's what the premise of the game is. So you can do whatever you want. If it's a simulation, you can make it be whatever you want it to be. So Assassin's Creed going huge online evolving live game. Love that. My concern though is how does that work? So obviously you play GTA, you play GTA Online, you're playing against other people. I know there are cooperative elements and stuff like with the heists and things like that, but GTA Online is very different from GTA Standard. Although they have put a lot more effort into having more single player content. That's the kind of thing that I think I need Ubisoft to be including. You need single player
Yeah.
content because if you got like your MMO stuff, usually it's the raid sort of element. A bunch of people will come in and you'll take on some big boss, and it's like almost hack and slash it. That's a very basic way of putting it. But Assassin's Creed isn't necessarily that. There's puzzles, there's problem solving, there's pickpocketing. It's never usually just a case of there's a big thing there, and it needs four of us to keep hitting it over and over and over again. And how do Ubisoft do these immersive single player storylines in a live online element? Will there be single player branches that come off that? Will there be multiplayer branches? I mean, there's plenty of ways it could be done. Definitely. The fact that I'm worried about is not necessarily that it's a bad thing. It's just that Ubisoft's content decisions haven't been the greatest. Some of them have been exceptional, some of them not so much. So, because there is such a wide scope here, I hope they've got a really good plan for how they keep the Assassin's Creedness. Like Bibby said, this will be exciting, but probably the issue is will it speak to the Assassin's Creed purists, so to speak? Yeah, I agree. That a lot of words to say.
What
I
I will say
agree.
about it though, what I will say about it though is if I know shock horror, I'm going to mention a game that I talk about all the time, but if they follow the kind of MMO structure of what ESO is doing, I know you said there that the whole part of an MMO usually is to do all the raiding, and you are absolutely right. That's mostly end game content. Like the raids are once you've played this game for 400 hours and you have the right armor, the right weapons, you can then group up with other people who have the exact same or better, and then you'll have better healers, you'll have the tank, you'll have the DPS, you'll have all of these people all coming together to do raid bosses. But the best thing about ESO is that you can actually play that single player, and that is what I've probably spent of the maybe 500 hours that I've played that game, I've probably spent about 10 hours playing with other people. And that was when Alpi started to get into it. Like, I can play that game on my own, and I have done for a stupid amount of hours on that game on my own, just going to each different island, picking off the books, going to the temples, doing the little caves, doing the small dungeons, just getting the lore of each of the islands myself, which is fantastic because I love to play video games. I just don't have the time anymore to be able to pump in 7 hours a day into any game. Doesn't matter what it is. Like it could be a sports game, it could be a single player game. I just don't have the time, and quite truthfully, I don't want to. Like, there's much better things at the moment, especially when it's summer, to be able to do than sit in front of a screen for that long, especially when you've been in work all day. But having a game like Assassin's Creed, where the games are usually rich in content for a single player experience because that's what they're based on. They could easily incorporate what ESO have done with their expansions to give you more islands to be able to go to give you more content, to potentially give you the extra raids that if you want to, and you are at a point where you're classed as it being end game, then you are more than welcome to be able to do that. But that's one thing I think Grand Theft Auto was missed. And that's we've been talking about GTA 5 getting a single player expansion for the longest time, but they genuinely don't need to because of how well GTA Online's doing. The steps that they made to make GTA Online a viable option for single player players has only just been activated. And that was one DLC pack in the last 8 years. So if Assassin's Creed can take the best parts of what I just use ESO because that's the MMO that I got more experience with. If they could take the elements of that and then the live service expansions of what Grand Theft Auto are doing, they're going to have a very, very good game. But like we discussed, it's all about whether or not the Assassin's Creed purists want that. And straw poll will probably indicate that that's a no.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably agree because you've got like playing 400 hours, getting all of your right armor and this, that, and the other, so that you can go do a raid is key to like that's the end game sort of content for for ESO, but that's not Assassin's Creed content. So it's a case of whether they can build that in, and if they are just going to go for that big end game content, is that going to make Assassin's Creed players play it, or are they going to keep playing Assassin's Creed? And will it draw in the ESO players or the Destiny players or whatever, or will they just keep playing ESO and Destiny? So if they are going to be doing that sort of stuff, it needs to be done in a way. I am quite excited though. Let's just forget about whether they can do that single player in a live environment, because that's difficult. It is difficult. Very few things do it very, very well, or very few things even try to do it. Take a single player game and then build it into a collaborative online world, because simply put, people are dickheads. That's what it is. As we found out yesterday on our PUBG stream, just try kicking a football in a pre-match lobby and people will just yeah, I'm going to kick that into the sea. It looks like you're having a bit of a five-a-side sort of setup. Nope, into the sea! So that's just PUBG's pre-match lobbies. People don't play the way that you want them to play, kind of thing. So it will be difficult to get the balance, but I would love the idea of being able to switch from, okay, I'm doing my missions. I'm trying to remember the name of an assassin. Altair. I was trying to remember the name of an assassin. I'm Altair, doing my Altair missions in old school Rome or wherever Altair was doing his missions. Then I want to bugger off to industrial London, and I love the idea of being able to mix that up. So those games that you may have played on the Xbox 360 or the PS3 or whatever, those environments fully upscaled and put onto next gen, current gen hardware. I love the idea of all of that sort of stuff. So I'm fully on board for live service. I'm very much in the live service camp. I know a lot of people dislike live service because we've had shit, but the potential of live service for me is wonderful. My only concerns is this live service operation is coming from the same company that have added you the ability to remove grind from the last Assassin's Creed game. Did you like Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Yeah, well, just play it monotonously until you hate it. Ta-da! And if you don't want to hate the game, then spend extra money. And it's like, no, because for that $9.99, I can get Xbox Game Pass, which would give me access to hundreds of thousands of games, and the spiel, you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, I like the idea. I am wary though because of previous content decisions. So we will see. Let's jump back through the chat though. Okay, mouse not scrolling. There we go. I did see way back up. I've lost it. I can't find it. It was ads mentioned something about the Switch OLED, and someone said Switch OLED, the Spanish version, but I can't find it. Lake says, I just called to say hello. I'll read. Bit of a coffee break and then back to work. He may already be back at work, but thank you very much for joining us on your break. Break League. Thank you very much. Not quite the same, but they made a Ghost Recon Breakpoint live service. It was weird and disjointed and didn't go down well. Like Asim said, very much depends how they implement it. Next Gen Bait says, hello, Shaggers. So as I'm late. Meetings. Glad I tuned in now. Absolutely nothing about this AC live service thing sounds attractive to me. Remember when Assassin's Creed games were long at 20 hours? I remember. Mr. T says, pretty sure Valhalla is the most successful, perhaps up there, if not one in the series commercially. Length, not an issue for most people. That's what she said. They'll just play until the next one is out. Now there's 60 hours, but you can buy XP skips. Absolutely. There'll be people that will adore this, just not for me. Mr. T says, live service doesn't automatically mean bad. In this case, it just means you have Assassin's Creed with a regular stream of content from multiple dev studios. Tita says, agreed, but I'm naturally wary of Ubisoft. Fair says, Mr. T, you would need to nail this. And I think that's it. Like, echoed what I've just mentioned about live service is not bad. Live service is just a principle. How that is delivered is potentially bad. So yeah, Ubisoft have previous of doing good, previous of not doing good. So hopefully we get good. And the reason we're talking about Assassin's Creed now is because they've nailed this. They've built this into a franchise that's been overall successful over the last 15 years, maybe longer. So I would like to see this step into the next generation of video game content because that's what live service is. That is it's the next generation. It's not generational in terms of the last generation will fade out. So you know what I mean. But yeah, I hope they nail it. You sound like you're going to say something, babe. What you saying?
Is it fair to say that? Yeah, is it fair to say that we're cautiously optimistic about this?
Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's perfect phrasing. Optimistic, but we have been burned. So we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. And we have been burned with live service. We have been burned with Ubisoft content, but we have had exceptional live service games and exceptional Ubisoft content. So we will see what happens as Pirate redeems the disco. Yeah, slow disco. I'll rate Mr. Number One Pirate. How the devil are you, sir? I hope you enjoyed the disco. Thank you very much. I say this as the Division fan. It's quite hard reading that because I know exactly what you're saying. I say this as other. You're like as other,
Yeah.
but it makes sense. I say this as the Division fan. It just seems that they saw how lucrative live service can be, but shoehorn it into games and audiences that aren't appropriate. Well, the difference between the Division and Division 2, I mean, one set the world on fire and one set everything on fire. Fuck, it's on fire. So Division was super successful. Division 2
to argue with that.
Just a mega disappointment. So it's they see the money and unfortunately can go chasing the money at the expense of the experience, but the experience will naturally generate the money. So that's what we hope. That's what we hope. Anyway, put a pin in that. Assassin's Creed goes live service. It's all still very, very early on. It's probably going to be a few years before we see Assassin's Creed Infinity, but we have confirmations of some sort. So it's not all pinch of salt. Some of it may be, but we'll keep you updated as more comes along. No doubt there'll be extra Ubisoft forwards that will give more content as we get closer, so we will keep you covered. But for now, anyone want a Nintendo Switch? What about the Switch OLED version? Well, you don't have to get it, according to Nintendo. Just stick with the current one, is the message anyway. This is posted by Chris Scullion at VGC, and the title says, "Stick with the current Switch if you don't care about the OLED screen," says Nintendo marketeer. So Nintendo's manager of product marketing reiterates Switch OLED doesn't run any better. There we go. A Nintendo marketing manager has advised players to stick with their current Switch consoles if they aren't interested in the new model's OLED screen. Manager of product marketing JC Rodrigo was tweeting about the new Switch OLED model on Tuesday, stating, "The screen is pretty, y'all." A follower asked him, "But does it run any better?" Rodrigo replied, "Nope. Not what it's for. Stick with the current one if you're not digging the screen." Nintendo announced the new Nintendo Switch OLED model on Tuesday with confirmation of a larger 7-inch OLED screen and other smaller additions such as a wide adjustable stand, a new dock, and enhanced audio. However, there was no mention of 4K resolution support or increased hardware power, as had been heavily reported before the system's announcement. In a statement issued to VGC following the announcement, Nintendo confirmed that the OLED model will feature the same internal components as in previous versions. Nintendo Switch OLED model does not have a new CPU or more RAM from previous Nintendo Switch models, a spokesperson told us. Multiple outlets had reported that Nintendo was preparing to launch new Switch hardware in 2021 and that it might feature upgraded computing power and support for 4K graphics. According to a Bloomberg story last September, Nintendo had reportedly asked game developers to make their existing games 4K ready in preparation for the new hardware. It's not yet clear if Nintendo changed its plans to include more powerful components, possibly due to global chip shortages, or if it moved the features to a possible future model. It's a weird one, this one, because it's not a bad story. Nintendo have gone, here is a better model. The kickstand on the back that was this weird shitty stick thing that numerous people have had it break on them. Well, now it's a functional. It's almost like the back you get, the one that I get on the back of my Microsoft Surface laptop, which is pretty functional. Nice, like it. Okay, you want a bigger screen? Okay, we've got you that. Nice, but it's that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, we've iterated. It's just the fact that there's no real functional benefit beyond that, like a better battery life, or faster loading times or whatever. It just feels like a but why sort of release. But anyway, if you don't want the OLED screen, Bib, obviously you were exactly the kind of person that was looking at upgrading his Switch. Are you going to stick with your current Switch or are you going to upgrade? What are you thinking?
Well, ideally, I would like to upgrade because I still have like the original Nintendo Switch. And yesterday we discussed that there is now 4 Nintendo Switch SKUs. Take away all the fancy ones like the Zelda version, the Animal Crossing version, the Pikachu slash Pokemon version. All of those ones, take them away. There's 4 current SKUs of the Nintendo Switch, as far as my mind can remember. So you got the original one, which I own. Then you had the Nintendo Switch Lite. Then you had the revision of the original one with the increased battery life, and this one now, which doesn't have a better battery life, but it will still possess the newer battery life, the bigger battery than the original one. Bigger screen, dock is able to have an Ethernet cable put in. These are all quality of life stuff. The again, one of the biggest things, like you mentioned, the kickstand. That kicks ass because the original one that I have is a little shitty one that you just poke out and snaps most of the time.
It
Any kind of pressure on that,
looks like a
shit.
fucking like a USB stick cover, not a stand, like a key component of it.
It's so thin as well. Like there's no meat to it whatsoever. But all the stuff that they got in this is quality of life stuff. If we didn't have all of this potential news and all of these potential leaks over the last 12 months about a Nintendo Switch Pro coming, this would have been a welcomed addition. I'm telling you now. Like if there was no rumors whatsoever about a Pro version 4K output, battery life through the roof, 26-inch screen in your hands, all this stuff, this would not have been bad news. This would have been welcome stuff. All the things that we're getting for this. It's just a shame that we've been teased into having this 4K-ness, this brand new revolutionary handheld console in our hands. I know it's a hybrid. You can put it in the dock. It would have been great if we could have had maybe a 720 screen and then a 4K dock. That would have been fantastic. I think that would have been a step in the right direction. I still think 4K in your hand is a pipe dream. We did have the One X player come out recently that plays all your PC games. I don't know. I can't remember if that was a 4K screen or it was just a 1080 one. But again, the battery life runs down faster the bigger the quality of games that you're playing. So I think this is a good alternative, especially for someone like me whose Switch is probably 50% dead. It will need a revision or a revive at some point. Whether or not I just trade that into come towards this new one, because this one does speak to me. Again, it's just a shame that we got our hopes and dreams dashed with a 4K console. But for all intents and purposes, I think this is a very good marketing message from someone in there. Like, imagine being honest in the society today, especially on Twitter, where someone says, if you don't like what we're offering, don't take it, mate. Just stick with what you got. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Like,
don't spend your
it's might no
cash.
no.
We're not just trying to
Yeah.
fleece you.
So, like, massive GGs to Rodrigo for just coming out and saying, if you don't like it, you don't have to buy it, mate. Don't worry about it. So, yeah, I think this will speak to a lot of people who have been either waiting for a new console to upgrade because they've got still the same console from 4 years ago, or someone who hasn't picked one up yet and likes the look of the new Pokemon game that's coming out in, when was it? February? Is it Arceus coming out in February? I think it was.
I'm just going
Like,
to say
that game
yes,
is
but
going to
I don't
kick some
remember.
serious ass. That game is going to kick serious ass. So if I was going to look to upgrade, it would be around that time anyway. But yeah, I think it's definitely a worthwhile skew in the market, especially for someone like me who's had theirs for 4 years.
I mean, Madge just said, lol, meme Graham. Shout out to Next Gen Base / Mr. Ben Ward, aka Winstano, on Twitter for this. A Mario play on the Drake meme. Fix Joy-Con drift, 4K support, DLSS support, provide console performance that isn't from 2010. No, thank you, says Nintendo. But a shiny screen, oh yeah. Shout out for the memes. We like the memes. So that was kind of the general consensus. Like I say, it's not bad as such. It's just not really. It's almost speaking to like the quality of life is the best phrase. So I was chatting to Chaos Right Zero, aka Chris Lock. He joins us on stream. He may even be lurking today, maybe working today as well. But I was saying it's kind of a weird one. It's not really what anybody wanted, but it's quality of life for people that might want it. If that's what you want, then it's a good thing. If not, then it's not. It's just kind of a weird decision. But it could be a case of there are people that have, like we said, 4-year-old Switches that are tired, that are due for a revision, and they may be just going, "Do you know what? I'm just going to stick it out because the battery doesn't last too long. I'm going to keep hold of it and keep using the Switch until the new one comes out." Maybe this is something that then gets them to just pull the trigger and make the purchase, which is fine. However, if we then do get the Pro at any point in the next 12 months, I would be fuming. If I was like, okay, well, I've finally been waiting. I've had it 4 years. I'm going to change. I'm going to switch the Switch, and then I get a Pro version of it just after I switched it. I'd be fuming. Well, that's me 200 quid down. Even if I trade it in, it's going to be fucking 400 quid or whatever for the next one. No, I'm not bothered. Not bothered. Asim says, problem is the Switch as it is creaking. Look at the reviews for the new Monster Hunter Stories game. Good game, but performance-wise is struggling on the Switch. Most of the best games on it struggle with performance now. It needs a more powerful revision. And that's it. That's it, though. Like, even, like, imagine that being in your mind. Okay, some of the games chug, but I love the device. I've had it 4 years. I'm going to upgrade it just because I use that much time on it. And I've been waiting for it, but it's clearly not coming. And then if it comes straight afterwards, that is, I mean, we're talking about PlayStation missteps. If this is a stopgap for 2 years, then that's fine by me. If in the next 12 months, if next Christmas you can get a Switch Pro, I believe this is a misstep from Nintendo. They're probably not asked. They're probably going to make the money anyway. But from a consumer perspective, I would see that as a misstep. It's not good consumer. It's not good consumer.
It's really weird though, isn't it? Like traditionally, Nintendo games and Nintendo fans, I know this is such a blanket statement, but they have never really been asked about how their games look. And it's really weird since they've started to speak to other third parties. So like we get in the likes of Doom and Wolfenstein, and there's all these obvious games that I always forget come over to it, that they're speaking to that we'd never would have even considered on the likes of a Nintendo 3DS or anything like that before. It's only since we started going to the Nintendo Switch that these third party support titles are going through the roof. So that's not me saying that they haven't had these kind of thing before, because obviously there was many Resident Evil games that came out on the 3DS and the Nintendo DS, things like that. But having these high profile AAA games being played on a Nintendo Switch is a freak of nature. Like this shouldn't be; these games shouldn't be playable. Like obviously, Asim's mentioned about Monster Hunter stuttering and having these performance issues, but previously no one's really been asked about how games look as long as they run well on these consoles. It's never been the front runner when it comes to fix and frame rates and stuff like that. I feel like we've kind of been a little bit spoilt with the Nintendo Switch so far. But I mean, I'm all in for this, if I'm being honest, but that's because I'm in the market too. Like, if I wasn't in the market too, probably I would be a little bit more pissed that I'm not getting a 4K console, but I would love a 4K Switch. Probably more than the next person, but at this moment in time, I don't think it's required that much. And I know that's probably a blasphemous statement.
Jumping into the chat, similar sort of comment, but from the opposite angle. This will sell big time with Christmas coming. Parents who aren't gamers will be sucked in by a shiny new Switch. Most casual gamers I know have bought the Series S, and it's off the screen, and it's never bothered them. Only the hardcore care about 4K/FPS, says Hulkamania. So that kind of goes in line there. Next Gen Base says, if Nintendo launch a new console next year on top of this, it is peak Nintendo. Absolutely, absolutely.
Brace yourself for that. Strap yourself in because it's going to happen. That.
Miss T says, not sure I agree with only hardcore care about 4K and FPS. Perhaps a smaller number, but many do care about power and performance in this day and age. And not only that, though, I mean, there's different types of hardcore. There's hardcore gamers, and then there's hardcore Nintendo fans. Hardcore gamers, as such, the ones that want the 4K and the FPS, that would make me more likely to play my Switch more often. But then you've got the hardcore Switch fans, some that will just buy any console anyway. But most people will buy a PS4 early on and then not get the upgraded PS4, not get the Slim, not get the Pro, because they've spent 300 quid on the PS4.
Yeah.
Same thing with the PS5, same thing with whatever, and the same with a Switch. A lot of people have got a Switch, it does the job. But you then, when I'm saying hardcore Nintendo fans, I mean the people that will go, okay, well, I want the best experience playing these games. For me, it's how we've described it before. We've got PC gaming, we've got console gaming, and the Nintendo Switch built itself up as an alternative option. So it's not a PC and it's not a console game. It's in this alternative. And that's almost, alternative is probably not the right phrase. It's probably like, if we're not even tiers, but let's say you've got option A, B, and C. It's just a different option of gaming. But for me, it is kind of alternative in terms of alternative is inferior, is not going to get my time. So from my perspective, I don't put as much effort into the alternative option. And 4K and so on is a big part of that. But you'll get some people that'll be like, okay, well, this isn't my alternative. This is my primary. So I upgraded from a PS4 to a PS4 Pro. A lot of people will be doing that with a Nintendo Switch. So if people do that now and then have to do that next year, then that's... I'd be pissed. I would genuinely be like, well, for fuck's sake, I've just upgraded. So I'd probably just be sat on my Switch now, wondering whether I should be pulling the trigger or whether I'm just going to shoot too soon and then the next one's going to be, that's what she said, the next one's coming out next year kind of thing. So Switch Pro 2022, March, Nintendo did this with the 3DS XL, and then a few months later, the new 3DS released. Actually, Magic Man says, really, maybe then they're unable to manufacture due to the demand right now. That could be it, genuinely could. I'd not considered that until it was mentioned in this article. I mean, we've seen PlayStation, we've seen Xbox, and we've seen Nvidia all saying that the lack of components means that there's, basically scalpers can thrive because there's not enough to go around. And Nintendo, rather than eating into that, have maybe just released this thinking, well, we can make a shitload of money on this because all the components are cheap. All we've just done is put in a bigger screen, and then we will make a shitload of money again next year when we nice burp. Next year when we get all of the components. So yeah, it could be that. It's a fair point. Several people I know are fine with Cyberpunk on PS4. Most people won't mind if there's the odd chuck here and there, and 30 FPS still works for a lot of people as well. Exactly. Oh, need to move my blind up because it's flying in and almost knocking things off the windowsill. It'll all come down to price. Touche. That's a good point. That's the thing. Nintendo crowd, or majority, probably never cared about power/performance, but we're in a different market now. More and more people do care about power and performance now. Exactly. I mean, this time last year, Nintendo changed from being a Nintendo selling to Nintendo fans to selling to the world. That Animal Crossing boom changed their audience from being just the hardcore to the everybody. Your Aunt Sheila's got a Nintendo Switch now because she couldn't go anywhere and it was cheap and it was discounted and saw some guy was selling or whatever. So there'll be more people that do care about that sort of stuff now. Next Gen Base says, saying that though, the first thing everyone asked me when I got the PS5 in early was, how's the graphics? Nintendo are in their own weird bubble at this point. I think the how's the graphics thing, though, is a generational thing. And also, that's the first thing you think, oh, next gen, it's going to look and play better. And it's not necessarily always about that. This gen is the least graphicsy upgrade from a gen. There's a lot more things going on with the ray tracing and stuff like that, but it's not so much the graphics, but like the stuff that people take for granted, the SSDs and things like that, the velocity architecture, that's where this is. But none of that has been upgraded in it either. It's exactly the same, no extra power. Anyway, I'm going to fast forward through the comments so we can jump into the next article. Hyrule Warriors 2 was awful on Switch. So much FPS drops. Time for a bong. Good morning. It's good that they bring out newer versions so when your console breaks, you buy a different one a few years later. Up the ICU, say up the ICU. Welcome back, dude. It's been a while. Sorry you guys know better than me. It's just a personal experience. I agree, though. If a proper, powerful Switch was in the market, I would use it a lot more because I do care about the visual fidelity. Good debate. Yeah, nice. If the Switch as a system is struggling with performance on new titles, then this would definitely bother me, and I'd not buy one until it's resolved. I'm potentially paying a lot of money. I'd like the experience to be enjoyable. Laggy bad performance gameplay issues isn't that, in my opinion, and it matters as well. So PUBG is a game that I don't talk about very often. Let's just ignore the fact that there's a crate there. But Bibby hated playing PUBG with me because it was a laggy mess on old school PS4s. I was playing on a PS4 Pro, so it was probably better for me than it was Bibby on his OG PS4 until we used smoke grenades, and then that was a different story. Leave that alone. But now PS5, it's a different kettle of fish. There's still all of the stuff within the game. Flavor. Yeah, exactly, and that it has a big thing, and that was be playing the game at the end of a generation. So it didn't necessarily get rid of him playing that PS4, but it stopped him playing certain games on the PS4. So you could have that sort of thing on the Switch. Oh, I fucking love the idea of playing Doom Eternal, but on the Switch it just goes. So yeah, I'm not going to bother. And it might not make people give up on the Switch, but it could make people give up on the games, which eventually, potentially, could make people give up on the Switch. But anyway, let's move ahead. So maybe you've got a Switch. Maybe you've got kids. Maybe your kids have got a Switch. Maybe your kids play their Switch in bed at night. I mean, do you know if they are? How do you know? It's not plugged into a TV anymore. They could just lay in bed and just stick it under the pillows when you come in the room. And God damn it! This is me setting up the scene, by the way. I'm not just randomly asking about your kids because that would be weird. But jumping into the next news, GameCentral at the Metro says Tencent uses facial recognition tool to stop kids playing video games at night. So Chinese publisher Tencent has started using its Midnight Patrol system. What a name! To check for children playing video games when they shouldn't. We've all played video games at night under the covers when we weren't supposed to do, but getting when we weren't supposed to be getting in a couple more hours with your Game Boy. But getting a couple more hours with your Game Boy didn't run the risk that someone was on the other side of the screen spying on you. Well, that dystopian fear is now a reality. Okay, that sounds scary as fuck. But according to a report by Sixth Tone, Chinese publishing giant Tencent has this week launched a facial recognition system specifically designed to monitor who is playing what video game and when. The idea is that the Midnight Patrol software is linked to the country's central public security system. Okay, this is now getting dark, which allows it to detect any children playing games between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. and boot them offline. Tencent software is being used to enforce measures first introduced in 2019, which require players to use their real name and limits both how much children can play and how much they can spend on microtransactions. The latter, at least, has certainly been a concern in the West, although most governments have dragged their feet about doing anything about it in terms of legislation. The Midnight Patrol system currently works for over 60 games that are popular in China, including Honor of Kings and Game for Peace, which is PUBG, by the way, with more due to be added over time. Concern over childhood addiction? I'm assuming that should be addiction. I'll start again. Concern over childhood addiction to video games has been growing in China over the last decade, and the difficulty of tracking how much time kids spend on mobile games has meant the new system has actually been welcomed by many. I'm not sure I'd welcome that. I mean, the title sounded pretty good, but beyond that, I'm not so much. Not so much authoritarian, dystopian weirdness. But anyway, Bib, Tencent has a facial recognition tool called Midnight Patrol, which sounds cool, but basically the government watches you and shuts off your machinery if your kids are playing it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it feels a bit... Yeah, I'm not too sure about this. It feels like a massive invasion of privacy that you're constantly getting your face scanned on your phone. Very bizarre. I mean, if it's that bad over there that they have to invent something like this, I will probably assume that you're probably not doing your parenting duties correctly and you want somebody's infrastructure somewhere to have a picture of your child's face so that you don't have to walk into their room and take their phone off them like normal people would do. Like, back in my day, my mum used to take my controllers from me, or the power cables, or just the console if I were. So I didn't. I had no option to be able to play play with console at night, and I would go to bed. Like, what happened to doing that rather than we'll just install some firmware and apps on your phone so that if you pick your phone up, it'll just kick you offline. Like, surely there is a better way somewhere to be able to go into your router and then just have a timed thing like a child lock on there rather than an app just constantly taking a picture of your child. Like, this is so fucking weird.
It's bizarre. It is bizarre. Just before we jump into it, let me finish off the comments from the last article because there are a couple at the end. If the Switch, no, not that one. There we go. Don't forget, Nintendo make actual profit on their consoles sold around $40 to $50. People are happily paying over the odds for essentially what is an old gen console. This new OLED version, 310 quid, probably making around the same or a bit more. Nintendo laughing to the bank. On top of that, their first party software is always top price and rarely drops. If they do release a new version next year, they risk it becomes like building a PC on a budget where you wait sometimes too long to buy the next best thing and it doesn't deliver the hype that you waited for. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there you go. What do you think about this Midnight Patrol system? What do you guys think? Is it right? Is it wrong? Because it just sounds it just sounds full on nanny state to me. It just sounds like you can't think for yourselves, so we're just gonna be sat there watching you at all times of every day. There you go. That's him. China infringing on some kind of basic human rights or privacy? Never. That's it. I mean, just full on infringements. Like, I would love the idea potentially, as you as a parent, you could say to, hey, Apple device thing that I'm not going to mention because it'll start listening to me and thinking I'm talking to it. Make it so that Chloe can't play games between 10 and 7 or whatever. So then I've set that up with my parental restrictions, my parental controls for my child in my house. And then in some holidays, I could turn it off. Or I could say, oh, no, actually, you can stay up till midnight in the old days. We don't care. You're not getting up for anything. It's fine. Whatever. I want to be able to control that. But the government telling me what my kids can and can't do, nope, not on board for that. So the title sounded funny. It sounded cool. Sounded like, yeah, okay, maybe it's a bit too heavy-handed for me, but I get that some people might need a little bit of heavy-handed help when it comes to parenting. But no, it's not for me. Not for me. This Midnight Patrol system sounds fucking horrendous.
Yeah, but like, I know this is easy for me to say because I'm not a parent, but going off the way that I was brought up, like this is just seems like a world away. And I know you're only like 5 years older than me. I assume like your dad and mum was exactly the same. Like you couldn't. It gets to a certain point where you have to go to bed. You have these things taken off you. Like I would have had my Game Boy taken off me, or like, it's like I said. At one point when I was being a little twat in school, my mum cut the plugs off my TV and my console. Learned how to rewire a console and rewire a plug and stuff like that eventually. But you know what I mean? Like these are the kind of things that are just so basic, but they're getting apps to fulfill parenting. It's fucking mental. Like, just take the phone off them, take the batteries out of the remote, take the plug out of the back of the console. It just seems very bizarre that this is the point that we're getting to. And I hope that this kind of thing doesn't come over to the east. It just sorry, to the west. It would infuriate me more than anything. But it do you know what? If this kind of thing is what parents want, so be it. But I can guarantee your child is going to be a little twat growing up.
I mean, there is a good comment in the chat though from Match saying it sounds creepy Big Brother control to us here, but for the people in the area, it may be welcomed. Maybe. I mean, I don't have that much knowledge of Chinese tendencies towards this. This could be something that they're looking for. It could be oppression. I don't know, so I can't comment. But maybe at least from my ethnocentric view, it's not something I would want. This would never get approved by regulators in the West, yeah, and so it shouldn't. From my perspective, not on board for that. Not on board for that. But there you go. If you want to stop your children from enjoying life, then you can do. Ta-da! No, yeah. I remember. I mean, I never had anything destroyed. I did have things taken away, like consoles and so on. I remember once I was about 13-ish, and I just got a stereo. Yeah, my own music system in my room. And I remember I at that point in time, I had like a cabin bed that had a desk below it, and the music system kind of was right near my head, and I had to like put headphones in, and I'd plug my headphones into my music system, so I was lay in bed listening to music, which I wasn't allowed to do. And I remember it was one of those awkward moments where you listen to the music going, it's not very loud as this. So I'm turning it up, but not realizing that my headphones weren't plugged in properly. So I was just playing the music straight out into my bedroom. Turn that fucking music off! Oh shit! That stopped me doing that for a couple of weeks. But that's the point was though, I did something I wasn't supposed to be doing. I got told off. Discipline. It's not fucking. You don't need governmental intervention. Just discipline. But there you go. Anyway, that's the whole easy to say parental sort of stuff. Why is time for a bong being timed out? Did you time him out then?
I did.
What's? Ah, okay. I've just seen it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's not good, dude, mate. No. Asim says Griezmann.
That's why timeout is action.
Yeah. Griezmann and Dembele got in trouble for that kind of sentiment. Exactly. I was like, what's happened? But yeah, mate, that's you don't say shit like that. Do you know what? That's a good point to put that to bed, which is not meant to be a pun intended, because that's kind of what it's about. But let's move ahead. Let's move ahead. As Joshua Henry at The Gamer says, Redditor creates inflatable cover to protect controllers from gamer rage. So Reddit created an inflatable bubble for his PS5 controller as a joke, but he's onto something. So ever found yourself precariously perched on a ledge in your favorite RPG, and a slight shift of the stick caused you to fall, losing all your progress you've made in the last hour? Or have you ever been facing off against another player in a first-person shooter and end up on the losing end of the firefight? These scenarios are common amongst gamers and tend to lead to what has been lovingly referred to as a rage quit, or an event that ends with a thrown controller and something has broken. Well, one man has made an odd but kind of useful invention to help ease the pains of situations: the Rage Quit Protector. Created by Unnecessary Inventions on Reddit, the Rage Quit Protector is an inflatable bubble that you can slide your controller into with handholds to allow ease of use. Whenever a rage quit occurs and the controller is thrown, the bubble will prevent any damage coming to those precious and expensive pieces of equipment. A video posted to Reddit shows off the invention's use as the player in a rage throws down their PS5 DualSense controller. Instead of smashing against the floor, the Rage Quit Protector causes the controller to bounce a few times before resting seemingly unharmed on the floor, which is a relief considering how great those DualSense controllers are. You can check it out for yourself below. Let's hit replay on that. That just looks, it's like playing it in a little kiddie paddling pool kind of thing. Oh, that guy's mustache though. Do you know? I saw a meme this morning from 90s WWE about Harry Kane when he used to be a wrestler in the 90s. That's what this guy looks like. Anyway, so while this invention seems to be more of a joke than anything else, after all, the Reddit post is prefaced with, I design unnecessary product prototypes. According to many of the comments for the post, it may be something players would get use out of. Some of the commenters note that this would actually be a great accessory for those expensive controllers, with some saying, add event fan and I am in, and others commenting that he failed in creating something unnecessary, as this seems very necessary, though this may be the only necessary invention from this user, as a quick search through his other adventures leads you to things like a questionable looking corn on the cob butterer and a keyboard that will only type your passwords. Still, this Rage Quit Protector may not be a bad gaming accessory. What do you think? Nice. Just imagine, how the fuck do I hack this account? Oh, there we go. Ta-da!
Imagine how sweaty your hands would be in this little paddling pool thing, though.
It's like a little greenhouse for your hands.
Yeah. Like absolutely unnecessary, but it's giving me a little smile on my face. Like I knew full well when I was trying to find articles this morning. I thought I'm gonna put this one in. Top 2 comments are going to be, can we package this in with either a PES or FIFA next year?
Well, we've had 2 of
airbags
those already.
Yeah.
3 of those. Airbags for controllers should be bundled with every copy of PES or FIFA. Ha! This is a great idea. Send them to half the PES community. And ever played PES 2021 online and lost the 90th minute goal? Baby, do you want to just reel in that fish hook? Go ahead, let's get it in. Ta-da!
I knew straight away. As soon as I was like, this one's going to be for the boys. They're going to enjoy this one.
So there you go. If you are an aggressive bastard, then do you know what? You can get a little paddling pool for your controllers to keep them protected. I mean, it did look. I mean, there was all sorts of flaws in it. To be fair, it did look like there was big holes in the side that you put your hands in. Surely the controller could come flying out of that and stuff. But you know, there you go. It's all fun and games. It's meant to be fun and games anyway. So if you've got yourself a DualSense controller and it isn't going dodgy just yet, well, do you know what? You can just buy yourself a paddling pool to make sure that it doesn't get dodgy for a bit longer. Ish. But on that bombshell, we are going to finish. Thank you, everyone that's joined us for the stream today. Appreciate you all dropping in and saying hello. Mean it very much. It's good to see you here. Do you know what? I will see you tomorrow. Yeah. Baby won't. I will. Also going to jump in for a short stream, maybe an hour-ish, straight after this stream, because it's a busy day today, parents' evening and stuff like that. So maybe an hour-ish, some PUBG fun times after this stream. So if you want to jump in there. But Bib, you're not going to be here tomorrow. Is there anything that you want to add in the meantime?
Yeah, 2 things actually. First of all, I apologize for you guys that will be watching this on YouTube that didn't get an episode yesterday. If you noticed at the beginning of the episode, well, you wouldn't have done because you wasn't there. But at the beginning of the episode, we didn't have sound, so I restarted my Wavelink. We ended up getting sound after I re-rolled the credits, and it was absolutely fine. But guess what happened at the end of it when I tried to highlight it? There was no sound whatsoever. So you guys that was watching live and exclusive, I mean, if that's not an incentive for you to be here at 10 a.m. ish or whatever time we go live in the morning, I don't know what is.
Ish.
But we went live, we did the show as normal, everything was fine, and then couldn't export it. So I'm sorry that you didn't get episode 403 yesterday. That's my bad. I need to try and figure out how I managed to fuck that up so bad. Considering we streamed 2 days before Vice City and we was getting clips of that stream and everything was fine. I have no idea. I think Wavelength just took a shit. But anyway, if you want to help shape our show tomorrow, very much like what Asim's done, like what Gary's done, like what the rest of you guys have been doing for us, there's 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. It's at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media profiles. Or alternatively, if you are watching this on any of our on-demand services, all the links that you need below are in the description as our Discord link, because that's where we want you to put the URL to the article and your thoughts and impressions. Because what we'll do is we'll take those thoughts and impressions and the URLs and we'll add them to the very next show, which Graham will be hosting tomorrow. It could be a dollop. It could, who knows? Who knows? You'll have to find out. But at what time will you be going live tomorrow, Mr. Graham Day?
Well, I will be going live at, well, on the money, 10 a.m. ish.
Massive asterisk next to it.
Yeah, 10 a.m. ish. So we're going live ish o'clock tomorrow. Feel free to join us at 10 a.m. ish, where we can shave our show, as Madge says in the chat. I think it's sabotaged by Graham after I said Bib was carrying the channel. No comment. No comment.
I need to try and figure it out though, because it's going to piss me off because that means that I won't be able to do it. I'll have to reset some of my settings and start again. Don't know what happened. Technical problems when you're doing a live show. It's what it is.
Audio problems on Twitch? Never. What is this? But yeah, that's it.
Also, what I do want to mention as well is that we need to speak to the Shaggers in time for the EA Play stuff. We need to get stuff in advance. When is it? We've got like 2.5 weeks, maybe.
22nd.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
So that is 2 weeks. 2 weeks today. 2 weeks today. So we need to get the boys and see what the crack is.
Yeah. So we're looking at you guys. Yeah, you know who you are. We're looking at you.
Oh,
so,
don't forget as well that the PlayStation State of Play is tonight, 10 p.m. Right? Did we work out? Is it 10 p.m. or is it 9 p.m.?
It's 10
I think it's 10. I think, yeah, Tito's pulling our pisser with that one, wasn't it? 9 p.m.
It was funny because I sat there, I'm working away doing that deck, and Tito's like, "Is Graham slacking again?" And then he puts the wrong time in and goes, "I'm on holiday." And I was like, "You just calling me a slacker?" And I think he's on holiday for like 3 weeks as well, the fucker.
10 p.m. tonight, State of Play. So you're going to get at least 9 minutes of Deathloop and a load of indie titles. Could it be a smokescreen for some other announcement? I suppose you'll have to wait to find out when Graham hosts the next episode of The Scoop.
10 a.m. ish tomorrow. 2 weeks today. What? Did I miss something? Says Pirate. 2 weeks today till EA Play. So we'll do a watch along for the EA Play. So yeah. It's a late one, right, for EA Play. It could be available if required. I believe it's like 6 p.m. or the pre-show starts at 6 p.m. It's something like it's an evening stream, so it's not like a mega late stream. So yeah, it should be good. Should be good. Nice if you're around, Madge. That's good to know. Yeah. Plumerico says, "Good afternoon, gents." Plumerico, goodbye. We are going to jump off Plumerico, but we will be jumping back on with some PUBG imminently. So feel free to stick around. But yeah, we're going to wrap things up. So everyone, have yourselves a fantastic weekend. And do you know what? I'll leave it to Bib because he's buggering off Friday and Monday, so we won't see him back till Tuesday. So yeah, over to you, Bib.
So if you guys want to get in contact with us, feel free to not mention me on Twitter at all. I will probably not even care. I'll be somewhere watching the European Championship and England bring it home. But guys, as always, there's 2 things I want you to do. First of all, look after yourselves. Second of all, stay frosty.
Stay frosty.